Good day, Alabama. What is going on? It's Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. Thanks for joining us on Thursday, August 17th. Wednesday night, Nick Saban spoke to the media and talked about consistency and performance. Here's Nick Saban's opening comments from Wednesday night's press conference.
The focus this week is on improvement. I think what we're looking for is consistency in performance. Charles Barkley was here last night speaking to the team, and he asked the question, what's the difference between having success and being successful? And, you can have success on one play in one game, but if you're successful, you have consistency in performance over a long period of time.
I think that's just it for Nick Saban. Consistency, performance, and that in itself equals results. And it really doesn't even echo just to football. I think that echoes to life in general. I think when you have consistency and routine and the things that you do in your life, it adds to positive or negative results. And in Nick Saban's realm, it leads to winning football games. Let's face it, he's the greatest coach in college football. He's here in Tuscaloosa, and there's a reason he's been so successful throughout his career. It's the consistency. It's that drive that he wakes up every single day and wants to be the best. And I think that translates to his players. And when he continues to get the best out of the best players in the country, obviously it's going to spill over into being the top football program yearly. And that's where Alabama is. Saban continued to talk about consistency and then also provided some insight into what will eventually create the team's identity. Here's Saban continuing to talk about consistency on Wednesday.
You can't be complacent. It's a lot of hard work and perseverance. You can't get affected by external circumstances. Because basically, if you can't give effort, you can't play with toughness, you can't focus and be responsible to do your job, how can you ever develop and get the trust of your teammates who know what you're supposed to do? All right, but are you able to go out there and do it on a consistent basis? And do they trust that you will do your part for what you need to do? So our focus this week has been get more people to do that, get more people to play that way. Because ultimately, our ability to execute and the number of players that we have that can execute is going to determine how successful we are. It's also going to, the identity of this team will be determined, by what this team does, not what any other team does, not what anybody thinks this team's going to do, but what they actually do.
Strong opening statements by Nick Saban on Wednesday night. Saban also provided some insight into the tackle position. And that's been one area, especially on the right side of the ball, where it seems that there is a position battle, and as Nick Saban likes to refer to it, as competition. So here's Nick Saban talking about Matt Womack and his development.
Well, he has improved. He's done a nice job. I think there's some competition, at the tackle positions, and, he's certainly involved in it. A couple of young players are, making progress at that position. But Matt has done really well. He's got good knowledge of what to do. He's playing a little more physical, which is, one of the goals that we had for him. He's gotten to be a little better pass protector. And I think he fits well with the other players in the group.
The tackle position for Alabama, at least for the future, looks fantastic. You look at who they have on the left side, and they have Jonah Williams, who is only a sophomore, a likely starter this year. You also have guys cutting their teeth as freshmen. Alex Leatherwood, 6'6", 322 pounds, who's an early enrollee. And then Jedrick Wills, who just showed up, 6'5", 314 pounds. Both of those guys, at least in practice, have looked pretty good. And Nick Saban has talked about in the past how those are two players that Alabama needs to and wants to invest in. So we'll keep tabs on the offensive tackle positions. But overall, I think that's a very solid area for Alabama. I think it's a young position. Even Matt Womack, he's just a redshirt sophomore. But I think overall, while it's a young position, I think it's a very good position. And being that those guys do have some youth at the position, I think in the end, it's going to be even better for Alabama moving forward. Ronnie Harrison talked about by Minka Fitzpatrick this week and by Nick Saban. Last season, Ronnie Harrison had 86 tackles and 7 pass breakups. The 6'3", 215-pound junior out of Tallahassee, Florida, will get a shot to play against his hometown Florida State Seminoles in just a couple weeks. Here's what Minka Fitzpatrick had to say earlier this week on teammate and next-door neighbor at the safety position, Ronnie Harrison.
From my freshman year to now, Ronnie's been the same type of player. He's physical, dominating out there. He ain't gonna take anything from anybody, and he's definitely turned more into a leader now. A lot of the guys look up to him in the secondary. Just seeing the way that he plays, a lot of people trying to play like him, and so I feel like he leads by example, and he just do what he does what he's supposed to do.
Following on Minka's comments, here's what Nick Saban had to say on Ronnie Harrison when asked about the safety on Wednesday night.
Well, Ronnie's done a really good job. I mean, Ronnie's played a lot of good football for us, and I think he's had a really good camp. Worked really hard, given a lot of consistent effort, setting a great example for the other players. So I'm very pleased with his knowledge and experience, his leadership in the secondary. He's done a really, really good job. So hopefully he'll continue to be able to work and be an outstanding player for us in the back end.
Saban was also a little bit animated on Wednesday. Now, we didn't get a full rant from Alabama football coach Nick Saban. However, he did go off on a little bit when asked about a certain player, that was Christian Miller. And then he started talking about, why do we even practice? Practice? We're talking about practice? Here's that clip by Nick Saban last night.
Christian Miller is a guy that y'all have relied on as kind of like a reliable backup the last few years. What have you seen from him kind of emerging? It seems like he's going to be one of those pass rush guys.
Who'd you say?
Christian Miller.
Oh, I don't know. You guys make all these predictions about everything, about guys that are going to be great players that have been here for 2 years and who's going to win all the games. And I don't even know why we play. Why do we even play? Why do we even have practice? Why do we compete? Why do we coach guys? How do they need to improve? I mean, you guys got all the answers to, how guys are going to be, what they're going to do. Sometimes I wonder, why do we play? Why do we even have practice? Because you guys got all these conclusions already drawn about who's what, how good they are, what they can do. So why would you ask me? That's a part that's puzzling to me. Why would you ask me? I read stuff all the time like, oh, that's nice to know. Where'd that come from? And then you ask me? But Christian Miller has done a nice job. He's had a really good camp. He's doing a good job. Had a lot of production points in the scrimmage. So we're really happy with his progress.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
And, thanks for asking.
We'll end on that note. We'll get you out with a good Saban quote to start your day. My name is Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. Thanks for joining us on Good Day Alabama. Alabama will host their 13th practice of the season. You can catch all that coverage back on BamaInsider.com. And, of course, they're going to have their second scrimmage of the season this Saturday. All that coverage back on BamaInsider.com. Reporting from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, this is Kyle Henderson.